Hi everyone. What I'm working on today is cleaning my oven. When I was getting my meal ready yesterday, the smoke detector went off. So I know this needs to be done. What I'm using is this can of Easy Off. A tip I had from a home care worker about a year ago was to spray it down once before going to bed and then spray it down before doing the job. So I did do this and it's come back to bite me. My pain flared up really bad overnight, and I've not been able to use the oven today to get myself a meal ready. So if you do spray it down the night before, you need to know that you're going to be able to follow through or make some other type of food for your meals that day until you get to cleaning the oven. The can gives two options, either doing it cold or having had the oven warmed up to 200 Fahrenheit. I'm going to do it cold. So the first step is to spray down the oven. The door also needs cleaning. So I'm just spraying this down. If you want to, you can put newspapers down on the floor to protect it from the chemicals that are used in the Easy Off. My kitchen floor is actually damaged from my electric wheelchair and it's in need of replacing. So I'm not overly concerned about damaging it or damaging the ceramic tiles. Boy, I just got a whiff of that stuff that's in here. It's strong. Wow. Okay, so while this works on the oven, I'm going to go ahead and fill the bucket of water. So this is my kitchen sink. This is real life again. I've been in bed all day. The first thing I was going to do this morning was empty my countertop dishwasher and fill it up again, and most of this would be cleaned out. That hasn't happened. That'll have to wait until the morning, and then I can run the dishwasher tomorrow. So what I'm going to do today for water will be using the hose that I put in a few weeks ago. If you don't have a hose, you could use the tap here. Notice I've put a tap in with the high arc, so I know I could put the bucket down, and even if the edge was up to here, it would still be able to fill the bucket half full of water. Another option would be using the bathroom shower head. I expect most of you will have a handheld shower head that could be used to fill the bucket, or if you do have a tub that's accessible to your wheelchair, you could use it as well. There is the handle on the bucket that would help you reach down, where you could lean it against the wall so it's not so low where you can't get back to it. Or else, if you had a grabber reacher, you could use the grabber to clamp the handle and then pull it back up after the bucket's been filled with water. So I'm just turning on the hot water now, and I'm going to use the hose to fill it up to about here. It really has paid off to have this handheld hose added. The faucet had a special connection for it. So you'd have to make sure that if you were going to add one, that there's a hookup for it in the middle between the cold and hot water supply lines of your kitchen faucet. I just got about another inch of water to go to reach the level that I want to, where my finger's indicating. Part of why I'm not using the fast cleaning heat method in the oven is because I'm just using straight hot water. That will help get off the grease that is trapped inside. So I'm just letting a few drips of water come out of the hose so they won't spill on the countertop. Okay, so I've got the bucket of water, and I'm now going to drive it back to where the oven is. So now that I have my bucket full of hot water, I'm going to go ahead and clean the oven. What I'm using is a shower sponge for someone who's physically handicapped. It's got this long plastic handle and then the circle sponge on the end. This is the only way I'm going to be able to get into the corners. My hips are really bad today, and I could not do this without having a long handle sponge. So what I've done is set up the bucket of water just below the door of the oven, and I'm basically wiping it down like I'm rubbing my back, and then I'm just dipping it in the water and letting the water come out of it by pushing the sponge into the edge. So this is part of why I didn't want to fill the bucket too full. I needed a spot that was above water to go ahead and get to rinse it out and get the extra water out of the sponge. Now there's a challenge that this creates. The the oven's going to need to be dried after this. I am leaving some water in here, but that won't be too much of a problem. I'm just going to grab my basin. I don't want to leave too much water around the part right here. This is a natural gas oven, and I need to be able to cook my meal after this is all done. So I'm just going to zip over and grab my basin that's empty. Okay, so this is the basin that I've just picked up, and I'm going to use it to wring out the sponge after the initial water drops out of it. So I'll show you an example of what I mean. You're going like this, and then just pushing down, and by pushing down, you can see that the water has started coming out of it right there. And then I'm just dumping the water that comes out back into the bucket so I can continue to use this to get out the extra water. And I'm actually going to go back over this to help soak up the water that was in here and that got left behind when I first wiped it down. Okay, so I'm going to start on the inside. I would ideally be working from the top down. It's a little bit harder to do with the computer here making the video. So I'm going to do what I can while I have you with me. Go. Okay, so that's the part above the burners, and you can certainly see the dirt that's coming out. And I'll just mop up that little bit of water that came out in just 1 second. So I'm back to pushing down on the sponge and wringing the water out. It's easier for me to do it on my knees, but it's the exact same action that I've just showed you. So I just want to get the little bit of water that fell down here. And I can see that the water's already turning color, so I'm really pleased that this is working. So I'm going to go ahead and do this side right now. There we go. Okay, and that's the dirt that came off of that side. So I'm sort of rinsing the sponge out in the bucket of water, and then I'm using the basin to get the excess water out of the sponge. And it takes a few times to wring out the sponge this way. Okay, so I'm going to reach across and do this side now. And that's the dirt that's just come off just now. I'm just emptying out the sponge again. There we go. Again, I'm pushing down on this, and then the water's coming forward. And you can see how the water's no longer clear compared to the white basin. Okay. Go. Let's come back this way. Here it is. Nope. There we are. There's the dirt from this time. Okay, and again, I'm just pushing it down into the basin. Okay. And I'm just getting a little bit more water out right now. There we go. So I expect there's going to be a little bit of water get into the storage below the oven by doing it this way. So you'll need to protect the drawer part that's down right here, or else go in afterwards and clean up the little bit of water that's got in there. I want to show you what I'm talking about. Let me just reposition. So this is the bit of water that's got down between the edge of the door and the holder for the bottom. Okay. Okay, so I need to change the camera setup. I'm going to leave you here and finish this off, but that's how I'm working at cleaning out the oven. And just for the record, this is the dirty water that's come out. And you can see the dirt and the buildup on there of the surface. Okay. Thanks so much for your time today. Bye for now.